Wow. LAFC just had their game of the year and their 6-0 win over Orlando City. Now, this is the most goals they've scored since last year, and they just absolutely exploded in the first half. They scored 5 goals in the first half against Orlando City. And I mean, if they play like this against any team in MLS, they're unbeatable, right? They're going to win all their games. So we're going to break down what we saw in the first half, the second half, and what this means for the team going forward. But before we do that, guys, I want to say the MLS Moves is presented by FanDuel, our proud sponsor of the channel. Please make sure you guys like this video down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. So, I mean, what about the man of the hour, right? I mean, we're going to break down each goal and stuff, but what you guys will have to let me know who you think the man of the match was between Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min. But I mean, these two had a very, very good game, their best game of the season by far. You know, Denis Bouanga had a hat trick in the first half within 8 minutes of each other. He scored the 20th minute, the 23rd minute, the 28th minute. And then Son Heung-min had 4 assists in the first half. Probably should have had 5 assists, but the own goal obviously is not going to count. But he would have had 5 first half assists if he would have counted that they wanted an own goal, right? If it was scored by someone on LAFC. So just absolutely incredible. And this is what we've been wanting to see all season long. All season long, we want to see this. When he was putting him at the when Mark Dos Santos was putting him as a 10, it was not working. Some of the tactics of when they were playing was not working with Son Heung-min. But today, things just looked a lot better. They were playing way more freely. Now, I have to mention this too. Orlando City is one of the worst teams in the league. We do have to mention that. There is context. They are a very bad team. But LAFC were doing things we hadn't seen all season. It doesn't even matter if they're a bad team because this is what you want to see. This is what we know they're capable of, right? And having Son Heung-min just be the playmaker, we always talk about how good of a goal scorer he is. Now, he still hasn't scored a goal this year, but he is a very underrated playmaker. And tonight, he was just pinging perfect passes and setting up Denis Bouanga. And honestly, who cares if he's not scoring? When he's making plays like this is good, just as good. I believe assists are harder than scoring because when you pass the ball, you got to make sure the person scores. So 4 assists is absolutely incredible. And with his performance tonight, him and Messi are the only 2 players to have 4+ assists in MLS history in one half. He and Messi are the only 2 players in Major League Soccer history to do that. So he just joined the record books, right? So he's an elite company in MLS history. And the first half is, I mean, it's about as perfect as you could want, right? 5 goals. The own goal in the 7th minute, the hat trick in the 8-minute stretch, 20th minute goal by Bouanga, 23rd minute goal by Bouanga, 28th minute goal by Bouanga, and then Palencia scored in the 40th minute to put them up 5-0 right before the half. I mean, if we're looking at the stats in the first half for LAFC, now they didn't win possession in the first half. It was 50-50, but they had 11 shots and 6 were on target. They were very precise. They had a 2 expected goal rate in the first half. Orlando City had 2 shots, 1 on target, 0.09 expected goal rate. Orlando City is just abysmal. They fired their coach. For you guys don't know, they fired their coach 3 games in the season. They have an interim head coach. They did sign Griezmann. He's not going to play till the summer. This team is very, very bad and very, very broken. Orlando City just, you kind of feel almost when it was 5-0 at half, you kind of almost felt bad for them. Like, all right, we've seen enough. Just go ahead and call the game. This is before this gets really out of hand or even further. You felt really bad for them at that point. But LAFC were just picture perfect. I mean, first half, perfect as literally as perfect as you could possibly want, right? So, hey everyone, quick word from our sponsor, FanDuel. If you're into soccer like I am, you already know how exciting La Liga, the Premier League, and MLS matches can get. With FanDuel, you can make it even more fun by placing bets on your favorite teams and matches across all 3 leagues. Whether it's a Premier League showdown, a La Liga thriller, or an MLS game with your local club, FanDuel makes it easy and exciting to bet on what you watch. Just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to play. Please bet responsibly and only if you're of legal age and in a state where it's allowed. Download the FanDuel app or head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and get in on the action. Thanks for supporting the channel through FanDuel. And also Hugo Lloris, incredible. We'll talk more about him in the second half. So that was the first half, right? First half, perfect. Second half, okay? Second half, they come out, they're still dangerous, but you can kind of tell that they're reserved a little bit more, right? They're not going all out. And we saw them take out Son Heung-min and Denis Bouanga and Tillman in the second half, early in the second half, because they want them to rest because they have a huge game on Tuesday night against Cruz Azul. And they've done enough. We've seen it. They got the lead. They're not going to lose. They want to get these guys some rest before their biggest match of the season, which is on Tuesday. Makes sense, right? If they played the whole game, that would have been a little bit more puzzling. So they get them off the pitch. And after that, it was kind of like they were still threatening and they still had some chances, but you could tell that it wasn't as dynamic, even though they did have a couple chances. In the 70th minute, LAFC scored again. Tyler Boyd scored a goal to put them up 6-0. David Martinez had a goal too, but it was called back because he's offside. So they were still threatening, but it wasn't to the level. Now I will say Orlando City had some key chances in the second half. I remember Ojeda had a chance, Pasalic had a chance, and Gulo had a chance, but we have to talk about the heroics. Now, the most consistent player for LAFC probably in 2026. I'm not saying he's the best part of the team. I'm saying he's the most consistent. Like he's been good the entire season because they have been so defensive oriented, is Hugo Lloris. Hugo Lloris has been having one of the best seasons he's had in years. He has had several key saves. He had several key saves tonight, several key saves. I mean, if it wasn't for him, Orlando City probably would have scored a couple goals. In the second half, Orlando City had 10 shots, 5 on target. Okay? 10 shots, 5 on target. And Hugo Lloris had 6 saves tonight, and a lot of them were key saves. Hugo Lloris was balling out tonight, and the keeper might be 40. If he's not 40 years old, he's very close to 40 years old. He's very, very close. He's getting close. But it's like he went back in the time machine and had a very great performance for LAFC. And he's just in rare form. He's the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer right now. And he's a big reason of why this defense has been so good in 2026. So, LAFC, they just dominated. Like I said, you almost felt bad for Orlando City. They never had a chance, and they played this game at home, and they had this confidence. Or LAFC haven't played a game like this all year. Thinking back about the games that they played so far this year, the only other game they scored 6 goals was that game against Real España, where they scored, I think it was like 6-1, if I'm not mistaken. But the competition's not nearly as good in Honduras as it is in MLS. So this by far is the most impressive result that they've had all year, by far. Now the question is, what we saw tonight, the duo coming back together, Son Heung-min and Denis Bouanga, the duo that many people fell in love with last year because of how well they were playing with each other. Is it here to stay? Is it a one-game wonder? That's going to be the question. Can Marc Dos Santos adjust his tactics to get both of these players playing like this more consistently? Because earlier in the season, these two guys struggled under Marc Dos Santos. They were not playing that well. They were not playing like this under Marc Dos Santos. And I think that he has a big issue with that. He was more about winning defensively than winning in the attack like we saw last year with these two guys. But after you see this is like the exciting ball that many people fell in love with last year. And this is what many people grew accustomed to seeing. They got used to this. And then when it didn't happen anymore, there were serious concerns about what is going on, right? So the key or the question is going to be, will Marc Dos Santos be able to utilize these guys? Will he be able to keep them playing like this going forward? Because if they do, then they're going to be very, very hard to beat. And the real test, I think, is going to be on Tuesday when they play Liga MX Giants Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul is a very good team. They're going to be ready to play. And LAFC is going to have its toughest test in 2026. And if they play defensive like we saw the last couple games, it's going to be very hard to win that way. If they play like this, they can beat any team in this region. And I think that they would probably be the favorite against any team in this region. That's just my take. Look, we'll have to see how they play consistently and if they can keep this up. But Orlando or LAFC fans, you have to be happy with this. If you're a fan of Son Heung-min, you have to be happy with this. Everyone across the board has to be happy with this performance. It'd be very hard to pick any type of critique you would have for what they did in this match. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. How impressed were you with this win tonight? Do you rate it at all? Do you think it's a big deal or little deal? And also, who was your man of the match? Did you have Denis Bouanga with his hat trick or Son Heung-min with his 4 assists? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.